Hello, welcome to the Papyrus TV News Update. First, the headlines. Governor Yahaya leads delegation to Tallahassee. Senator Natasha accuses Attorney General of abuse of court process. Journalists launch campaign to preserve identity of Abuja indigenous communities. Federal government partners AIG Imokwede Foundation to train senior civil servants. Nigeria's exit from FATF grey list signals stronger financial system. Group Kano Assembly protests alleged northern marginalization in custom recruitment. Bishop Abioye blames leaders' silence for Christians' genocide in Nigeria. Now the news in details. Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya, Governor of Gombe State, led a high-power state delegation to Tallahassee in Balanga local government area to offer condolences following the death of retired Colonel Abdullahi Bello, former Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs. At the Palace of the Bala Waje, the governor describes the late commissioner's passing as a monumental loss. To the state and the nation, noting his military service and latter contribution to the state security. He also visited the families resident of the late commissioner in Tallahassee, offering solace to his mother, wife, children, siblings, and extended family. On behalf of the Waja Chiefdom, the Balawaja Alhaji Dr. Muhammad Danjuma Muhammad, thank Governor Yahaya for the visit and the moral and institutional support extended since the tragic incident. The governor ordered special prayer for the deceased, with the chief imam of Balanga presiding over a service seeking mercy and Janatu Fridasu for him. Governor Yahaya was accompanied by his deputy, the speaker and members of Gombe State House of Assemblies, secretary to the state government, various commissioners and advisors. The gesture underscores the state government's respect for public servants who have given distinguished service and in recognition of communal leadership structure as part of the condolence protocol. Natasha Akpoti-Oduah, Senator representing Kogi Central, has filed a motion at the Federal High Court in Abuja asking for the dismissal of a 6-count charge filed by the federal government on the grounds that it constitutes an abuse of court process. The charge relates to the allegation that the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Governor of Kogi State Yahaya Bello plotted to kill her, allegations she made publicly. Senator Akpoti-Oduah argues that under Section 1743 of the Constitution, the Attorney General of the Federation must exercise prosecutorial powers in the public interest for justice and to prevent abuse of legal process. And she contends this prosecution failed those tests. In response, the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, maintains that the charges were filed after thorough investigation. They establish a prima facie case and therefore do not amount to abuse of court process. The matter is now pending before the court, the Senator's legal team contesting jurisdiction and prosecutorial motive. The case highlights tension between prosecutorial discretion, political rivalry, and question of fairness for high-profile legal action involving legislators. The Network of Journalists on Indigenous Issue, NEJIR, working with the AIG Imokwede Foundation and Resource Center for Human Rights and Civil Education, CHRICED, has launched a media training campaign focused on the rights and identity of indigenous communities in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and Abuja region, whose ancestral identity has been threatened by decades of displacement. At the event in Abuja, CHRICED's Executive Director, Dr. Ibrahim M. Zikirulahi, traced how lands owned by original inhabitants were acquired at very low prices for national development projects. The National Stadium reportedly for 500 naira and the Aso Rock Villa site for 20,000 naira, while indigenous communities were uprooted. NEJII's coordinator, Mr. Adewale Adeoye, stressed that the language erosion signals the loss of identity and charged media practitioners to pursue justice, restore dignity, and raise visibility for indigenous voices. The training emphasized the role of print media for documentation and penance and broadcasting digital media for grassroots reach, urging solution journalism that goes beyond exposing problems to spotlighting policies and actions that restore equity. Participants pledged to increase indigenous voices in mainstream news, follow-up investigations, and media advocacy for long-term recognition of original inhabitants of the FCT. The initiative reflects growing attention to cultural identity, land rights, and media role in shaping public awareness of historically marginalized populations. The Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation has partnered with the AIG Imokwede Foundation to launch a line manager onboarding training designed to equip directors of HR, staff welfare, training, care, career management officers, and deputies across MDAs with leadership, communication, and accountability skills. The program builds on a 2023 foundation-backed study which found that the quality of supervision during the public servant's earlier years significantly affects long-term productivity, engagement, and purpose. The two-day workshop, facilitated by the public administration expert such as Dr. Aug Hien of Durham University, Professor Isaac Obasi of University of Abuja, and Choma Njoko of the Foundation, focuses on embedding professional values and improving team performance and intention in the public service. The training aligns with the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan 2025, FCSSIPS 25, who prioritize professionalism and leadership development across government institutions. The initiative signals a push towards institutional reform in Nigeria's public sector, recognizing that human capital and effective supervision are central to government service delivery. A civil society organization, Good Governance Team (GGT), has said Nigerians' exit from the Financial Action Task Force (FATF) grey list demonstrates the country's determination to strengthen its financial system, restore global investors' confidence, and uphold transparency. GGT convener Tunde Salma remarks that the development shows progress in legislative improvement, enforcement initiative, and policy alignment with international standards for combating illicit financial flows, terrorist financing, and corruption. He said the removal from the grey list opens significant economic and diplomatic opportunity, bolstering foreign direct investment (FDI), improving access to credit and trade financing, and reducing transaction costs for domestic business. However, he cautioned that sustaining the gains will require continued political will, institutional discipline, and policy coherence, including transparency in beneficiary ownership disclosure and effective prosecution of financial crimes. The statement underscored the importance of maintaining reforms momentum to avoid slipping back and to maximize the strategic advantage of improved international financial standing. Finally, the Kano State House of Assembly has accused the Nigerian Customs Service (NSC) cadet recruitment exercise of gross regional imbalance, alleging that northern states received disproportionately fewer slots compared to the south. During plenary, Majority Leader Honorable Lawan Hussaini Dala said of the 1,785 recruitment slots, Lagos alone got 207, Ogun got 145, Ondo 132, Osun 127, Oyo 108, Ekiti 93, totaling about 812. Nearly half the total. In contrast, the entire Northwest region reportedly received only about 7%, Kano 31, Katsina 20, Jigawa 18, Zamfara 16. He warned that if the region remains silent, the NSC will become an institution belonging to one region. The Assembly urged the Federal Character Commission, National Assembly, and NCS to review the recruitment list to ensure fairness, equity, and inclusivity. The motion was unanimously adopted, and the House called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to cancel the exercise if needed. The issue raises broader questions about regional balance, representation in federal appointments, and the operations of federal character principles in Nigeria. David Abioye, General Overseer of the Living World Conquerors Global Assembly, has claimed that the alleged genocide of Christians in Nigeria is driven by the silence and personal interests of political leaders who deny targeting killings. In his sermon, he stated, "You see people, Christians, being buried in hundreds, and you say there is no genocide? What a wicked set of people." He argued that the killings are very clear and spreading to the southwest and southeast, and accused so-called leaders in these regions of downplaying the phenomena for personal gains. His comments came amid ongoing debate over claims by the U.S. lawmakers and religious freedom advocates that over 30 Christians are killed daily in Nigeria, and calls to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC, for religious persecution. The federal government of Nigeria rejects the notion that the violence is religiously motivated, insisting that instead that the country's security challenges stems from criminality, banditry, and terrorism affecting all citizens. The claim by Bishop Abioye underscores the internal leakages of faith security and political accountability in Nigeria's complex conflicts landscape. This is the Papyrus TV Africa.